Hey, good morning guys. So I'm out for my morning walk. I've been doing cardio for about a half an hour every other morning, so probably about 4 times a week. And for that I just go for a walk outdoors. I usually come out here and do a loop around the trail, and it takes me around 20 minutes to a half hour. Mini cut is off to a good start so far. I started at 170 pounds. Now I'm down to, on average, around 168. I hit as low as 166 and a half. So in terms of my diet, I've been eating intuitively and placing an emphasis on eating whole foods, and then also having consistency to my days. So for breakfast, I've been having exactly the same thing every morning. So that is a cup of egg whites, a whole egg, some hash browns on the side, turkey bacon, and a cup of fruit. And then for my second meal, I've been having the same thing. It's just a whey protein shake and some almonds and a piece of fruit. And then after my training session, I'll have another protein shake. And then from there, I usually have 2 other meals. So for example, last night I had lean ground beef burger with some cheese on it on a light bun. If I want, say, a little piece of cheesecake or some chocolate or whatever it is, really, as long as it's not something that's like too greasy or fatty, then I'll just have that little bit. And I think that that's an important aspect of intuitive eating. I think that if the goal is to get away from tracking things meticulously and eating more according to your body's hunger signals and so on, I think it's important not to put restrictions on yourself in terms of what you can eat at each meal, both in terms of amount and in food sources. Now I admit this can be a slippery slope for people who really have a tendency to overeat. I think that at this point, this is the most comfortable way for me to eat and yet still not hinder my progress as a result. Okay, so I'm back with a voiceover commentary for this chest and shoulder plus some squats workout. So yeah, we kick things off with a little bit of light cardio, 5 or 10 minutes on the elliptical, then just some basic dynamic stretches and just general prehab stuff. So some band pull aparts, shoulder dislocations, and some external rotations and stuff like that. So I do rock my Adidas power lifts for benching, just because I find the raised heel allows me to get a little bit more leg drive without having to dorsiflex so much, and just gets me into a more comfortable position with my setup than, say, with a flat shoe. So what we were doing here was 6 sets of 5 with 67.5% of my current 1RM, which I'm plugging in as 375 since that's my current training max. And yeah, just getting a side angle there. You can kind of get a feel for what my bar path looks like. So I really puff up my chest in addition to the arch that you're seeing, and really try to think of getting that contact point up and expanding upward as close to the bar to kind of meet the bar on its way down. And then when I press, I'm pressing up and back. So you should notice that the bar comes slightly forward to reach the high contact point at the bottom of the sternum, and then I press it up and back to get it, closer to the shoulder joint, and then reduce that moment arm as a result. So after the bench, it was on to some squats. So this was actually meant to be really light squat work, more or less technique work. So this is an interesting exercise, 3-stop eccentric pause squat. And this is an exercise that was introduced to me by the strength guys, I would say 2 or 3 years ago now. And I think that it's a great learning tool and a great way to improve bar path and really focus on the eccentric of your squat. A lot of people tend to just free fall on their squat, and I think that this can be a good, useful training exercise to teach eccentric control and, like I said, improve bar path. You guys might notice that I have switched back to low bar here. The reason I went to high bar to begin with really was because my back was giving me some trouble when I was training the squat in the low bar position, but that hasn't been an issue lately, so I went back to low bar, and introduced this exercise back in to really acclimate myself to that exercise again and ensure that I'm performing the movement in the way that I want to. So we did 6 sets of 4 with 70% of 1RM, and that turned out to be quite a bit more difficult than I had anticipated, probably because I left my knee sleeves at home on this day, so the weight felt quite a bit heavier, but I'm not going to adjust that moving forward. I think that in a week or so I should be acclimated to that exercise, and I have a feeling the weight will feel lighter again, especially since it started to feel lighter actually as the sets went on. So then after that, we did some lateral raises with the dumbbells and then with the cables, and then we moved on to cable upright rows. So I know upright rows get a lot of heat because they can put your shoulder into a compromised position where it's internally rotated and you're also abducting at the same time. However, I find with the rope, it allows for a little bit more healthy range of motion of the shoulder joint, and you should probably stop maybe a little bit shorter than I am here. You generally don't want your elbows to go up too much higher than the shoulders, lest you fall victim to some impingement, and that's the way that Brad Schoenfeld recommends doing them. So that is a good exercise for the side delts and the traps, and that's going to be a regular for me moving forward. So after the shoulder stuff, it was on to a incline machine chest press. So I am more or less prioritizing the shoulder stuff just because my chest is a strong point for me already. So I was basically sticking to mostly the pump work here. So 12 to 15 reps on the press and 15 to 20 reps with the cable crossover. And with the cable crossover, what I plan on doing is just altering up the cable height from week to week. So I did just a straight on fly this week, and next week I'll probably do it from the bottom and then from the top. So we finished off with some abs. One thing to note here with the cable crunch is that look how much my spine is rounding. That's an important part. A lot of people just flex at the hips, and so their abs aren't as active as they should be. So it's important to allow your spine and your lower back to round, and that's what the abs should be doing when they're crunching. Then we finished off with some neck training, so check out my video on neck training for more details on this. But yeah, I'm still just getting used to it, and it feels pretty awkward, and I get some weird looks putting a plate on my head at the gym. But that's going to finish this commentary, guys. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, so I'm back from the gym. I'm about to record a podcast with a pretty sweet lineup of debaters. We're going to be debating whether or not reverse dieting is the best practice for bodybuilders. And so I've got Lane Norton, Peter Fitchen, Eric Helms, and Menno Henselmans joining me for a podcast debate. So I've been planning this now for the last couple of months. Super excited about it. It's going to be released on my YouTube channel here and on my podcast on Monday, March 7th. So stay tuned for that. And it's going to be a good one. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and record this, and I will see you guys in the next vlog. Are you joking? No, dude, I'm serious. BCAAs have calories, man. You need to track those. Holy shit, man.